Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For this week's episode, Megan and I are just going to do like a chatty, fun episode.
With us.
We have a couple different topics listed out that we wanted to discuss with you guys, but otherwise, we're kind of just seeing where the episode takes us.
We actually, this was probably like a week or so ago, we asked you guys to send in any requests you had for podcast ideas, and Ciera was looking through them and said that a lot of you guys wanted us to just chat, and also a lot of you guys wanted us to either interview Haley or Maggie, which we shall keep in mind for the future, but we were kind of planning last minute today. So like Ciera said, we've got some topics, so we'll kind of work our way through them as we get to them.
I feel like we don't even need to discuss weekly spotlights, because I feel like a lot of what we're talking about
just recent
happenings and stuff, will be all encompassed in that. Anyway, and also we don't have to do a book update because we were including a longer book tangent as part of this episode. So
we might just jump right in.
We will get started. Book update for you guys. I am currently 2 books behind schedule of getting my 50 books in for the year. And I'm it's December. I really gotta kick it into gear now or never. And I am currently reading, I think it's called Stillhouse Lake or something. It was a Kindle Unlimited book. And I think it's supposed to be pretty quick. I've just been so bad about reading at night or just throughout the day. And so I probably should have finished it by now, and I just haven't. I'm 30 pages in.
No, so my ideal world is if I'm really invested in a book, I'll start reading during the day even too, and really get some good chunks done. In a perfect world, let's say I don't get to reading until nighttime, I read for an hour to really get a solid chunk of time in. Ciera and I have both been so tired when we're going to bed, or just not getting off our phones. At least that's been sometimes the issue with me too. Getting off my phone to then go spend some time reading my book. So I'm still reading Divine Rivals. I'm gonna try and finish it today because it says I have less than 2 hours to go, or less than 3 hours. It was 2.5 hours. And it's been a good book. I have no complaints about it. I read a chapter a night because then I'm falling asleep.
No, that's been an issue for me too, is that I'll pull my Kindle up, I get all cozy in bed, and I'm okay, I can just settle down
on
and read, and then I'm my eyes are closing, my head is dropping to the side.
Which is great in the sense of sleep-wise. It's nice to not be tossing and turning in bed. I'm just my body wants to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Not good for my books though.
So, been slacking. That means that I'm trying to finish this book and then really hone in on reading shorter books. So I went to Barnes & Noble today, and I actually had a $50 gift card that I had not used at all. And so my entire purchase today, I got 3 books, was all covered within that $50 gift card. So one of the books that I got was This Is How You Lose the Time War. It's a short book, less than 200 pages. And I've had it on my mind. I've brought it up to Megan about wanting to read it so many times. And I'm I just need to bite the bullet and do it.
I don't even know what it's about, honestly.
All I know is that it's there's obviously a time war going on. So there's different periods of time. And I think there's basically just someone called Red and someone called Blue is my understanding. And they write letters to each other across the time spectrum continuum within this war. That is all I know.
Okay.
But I think it'll be fast, and I think Jack Edwards has read it, and I think he liked it. Which I know we don't have entirely similar taste, but I trust his opinion.
I picked up 2 books. I picked up ACOWAR, the 3rd book in the ACOTAR series, to eventually get around to. Just have it in my presence. It is a 700-page book though, so I don't know if I'm quite ready to jump into that much of a commitment. I believe it's actually I'm not sure if it's the longest one. The last one might be the longest one, because I feel that one everyone says is so slow to get through. But and then I also got Nora Goes Off Script, which has been on my TBR for quite a while, and I just kind of decided to actually pick it up today. So yeah, I'll eventually get to that one probably soonish.
Then I got 2 other books. One of them was called Mrs. Nash's Ashes, and it's supposed to be a rom-com. A book person that I follow on Instagram has read it, and I think they gave it either 5 stars or very high 4 stars. And they always do in their reviews similar books, and they had The 7-Year Slip and Beach Read, I think, listed in like the similar books, or otherwise it was like vice versa, like, oh, like the 7-Year Slip, they had like this one similar, like some sort of, you know, these 3 books
Related.
are kind of related. And I love both of those books. Beach Read and 7-Year Slip are like both 5 stars for me. And the concept just seemed cute. I mean, kind of cute. She's like spreading her like elderly friend's ashes. Like, that's not cute, but she's going like on
It's
a
like
cross country
lighthearted
road
read,
trip. Yeah.
seems.
So I'm excited. That one's not short or anything, but I think hopefully it'll be quick to get through if it is that same style of romance. And then I also got an Abby Jimenez book, The Friend Zone. I have no idea what it's about, but it had like the 50% off sticker, which also was on Mrs. Nash's Ashes.
So she was
and I
looking
wanted
for
to
another
get
one.
that 50% off. So I just found a book that I thought I would probably like to read at some point.
Other book stuff. I feel like I just
should
haven't.
I pull up on my story? I posted like, oh, anyone have any like thoughts on the books that I recently purchased? So let me see. Someone said, Love the Friend Zone. Whole series is so good. That's good.
I have read because
Love
these are
Abby
like
Jimenez.
there's 3 standalones for that Friend Zone series. So I've already read the Happy Ever After playlist, which is technically the second one, I think. And I thought that one was okay. It like wasn't my favorite book ever. It's probably my least favorite book of hers that I've read, but like it wasn't bad.
Someone said, This Is How You Lose the Time War is literal poetry. So that must be
I feel like that fits like
A
Jack
good
Edwards' vibe.
review. Lots of love actually for the Friend Zone that I'm seeing. Someone said, My mom loved Mrs. Nash's Ashes and has been telling me to read it. This Is How You Lose the Time War is quite crazy and confusing, so look up what it's about before starting. Okay, will do. I will clarify my description of what I know is probably not entirely accurate, so I'll probably at least try and read the summary before I get started with that one. I think after I finish the book I'm reading on my Kindle, I'll try and read that one next. I gotta read my short books. It has to be done. If Nora Goes Off Script is good, and you read that soon, that one's also short, too.
Yeah.
It's funny because last year, you remember what book I was reading last year?
Stephen
like
King.
the complete opposite
11/22/63.
of what I'm trying to do right now. I had already hit my mark for, I think, reading 40 books at that point. And so I was like, we can settle down with this like huge giant break of a book. And now I'm like, give me 200-page books. I need to get ahead of my goal. So, but yeah, I'm at least like enjoying. I think all the books that I've read recently have been 4 or 5 stars.
I was just telling Ciera, I was like, I don't know how many 5 stars you've given out this year, but I feel like my 5 stars have been like so few and far between. Like I think I've given two books 5 stars this year.
Happy Place and what else?
And it's a good question, actually.
I feel like just the more that you read, the more it almost takes you to give a book 5 stars. Like, I think I've become a lot more critical of, like, the books that I do give 5 stars to. Because I can think of, like, a ton of, like, Colleen Hoover books that, like, I gave 5 stars. Or, like, The Hating Game I gave 5 stars. And I've, like, since been, like, I probably wouldn't still give those 5 stars. Like, they'd probably be, like, more of a 4-star contender for me.
Right. But it's still just making me upset because I want that feeling still. I want to... I'm going and sorting my books, so give me a moment. Mine would be You. I technically read this year, and then Happy Place, and that's it.
I mean, I'm surprised that you gave. Mine would be 5 stars. That was like
I
a
think it was
very
just like
even-keeled 4 stars for me.
I think it just was like what I needed
Right
at the
place,
time.
right time.
So if you guys have any, and it could be any genre. I'm open to any genre in theory, but romance typically I feel like is most likely to get 5 stars for me because I feel like it evokes just like that feeling.
I feel like it's
Very
actually
rarely.
the opposite of, like, to me, it's very easy for romance to get 4 stars, but, like, hard to give it 5 stars, versus I feel like non-romance books that I read that I like, I'm more likely to give 5 stars.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, ooh, this is, like, critically acclaimed. Not that a romance book couldn't be, but, you know, sometimes those books can be, like, a little bit deeper or evoke stronger thoughts.
So if you guys have any 5 stars, especially like, I mean, it can be like older stuff too, but I would love to have like some newer books that would be exciting.
You know what's interesting? We can talk about like the, you know, Iron Flame stuff going around since we're in our book segment. Meg and I have both read Fourth Wing, both planning to read Iron Flame at some point. we haven't purchased it yet, but I have seen like such vastly different reviews. I feel like people either love it and they're like 5 stars, it's way better than Fourth Wing, or some people are like, I feel like I'm seeing the latter more and more now. People are like, I don't think it's as good, like I got bored, it was too like world building heavy.
Is like people that were really into it, like it's a long book, so we probably heard their reviews first of like they flew through the book, they loved the book, they devoured it, incredible 5 stars. And the people that kind of like were taking
like,
a little
now
bit
they're finally
longer,
finishing it.
They finally got themselves through the book, and now they're like, it wasn't my favorite. Here's what's interesting, and like I definitely can like tell I'm getting more interested in fantasy because I do keep kind of keeping my eye open on those series now. And like when before I was like, I won't be like trying those books out. But it's, if I ever find a 5-star fantasy series, like it's gonna be an interesting time because like I have enjoyed ACOTAR so far. I enjoyed Fourth Wing. Like I don't have any qualms with either of them, but like they were just 4 stars to me.
Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting? Bring up like fantasy and stuff. I still have like yet to dive into any like fantasy series. I mean, Fourth Wing is a series now, but I haven't read beyond the first book. But I was just on TikTok and I saw like someone saying for Throne of Glass, they're like, here are the different ways you can read it. You can do like the romantic read, and like here's where Assassin's Blade goes. If like for it goes after the 3rd book, you read it 4th, and like, or if you want the publication or like the purist order, you read Assassin's Blade first, and which is not the publication order, but they're like chronologically that's where it goes. And then here's if you want to do like the tandem read between these 2 books. And so I'm just like, that seems like a lot of work. I think I would get stressed if I ever make it to Throne of Glass. I'll be stressed, just like, oh, where should I read it?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I've decided that if I get around to that series, I would do Assassin's Blade first, and then I would do the tandem read. Because I just feel like I don't ever hear anyone like regret doing the tandem read, and I feel like it'd be like annoying to have to reread the same timeline again. Like I wouldn't want to do that.
And then you get to mark 2 books off at the same time.
Yeah. Because like, for example, and it's not like I've read every Colleen Hoover book ever, but I don't think it was this year. Last year I read Hopeless, and it was good. I enjoyed it. And then she has another book. She has like quite a few like novellas for that too. But she has another book called Losing Hope. It's the same timeline, just from a different character's POV. And I was kind of like, I just don't care enough to do that. So maybe there should be a tandem read for that. Probably is out there if you look it up.
Any other book thoughts, updates?
I think that also kind of on my radar, because I saw Sarah Crowley just read it not that long ago. Lauren Asher's new book, Love Redesigned. I saw that in the stores when we were shopping today. And then she has like her Dreamland Billionaire series was already on Kindle Unlimited, so then I was looking to see if the new one was on Kindle Unlimited, and it was. So I've got that in my Kindle library to have on the radar, have as an option.
Queue it up at some point.
This is like a small thing, but every time we go to Barnes and Noble now and like you see the Magnolia Parks books, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but I hate the new covers. I do not like the large publisher covers. I think that they looked much nicer and more niche and less sitcom-y. Like, I know very little about the series, but like it looks very like Sex in the City, which like maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know, but like it's not.
I was
as
getting
whimsical.
Gossip Girl vibes.
I've seen neither series, so yeah, I just don't like the covers.
Any other book things? Otherwise, we can move on to football.
We can move on to football.
Okay, so very busy weekend as we're recording this. We just finished up all of like the championship games, and then today is Sunday, so all of the bowl games are getting announced. Iowa played in the Big Ten championship yesterday.
Good for them
against
for
Michigan.
there.
Unfortunately, things did not go our way. Score ended up being 23-0, right?
26-0.
26-0.
Which, like, was expected. There were still some things where, like, the refs continued to shock me. Not that we would have won the game. We would not have won the game. But like, it was just weird. Like the initially called incomplete pass that got turned into a fumble with Michigan ball didn't even come back on to announce it. We were just
Yeah.
we were just back in the game, and oh, Michigan has the football now.
Like on our 10-yard line or something. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so we know Iowa's offense is not good. It's like ranked last or something in all of college football. Our defense did well with what they could. Unfortunately, we did not have an offense to match up the game very well.
That being said, we are borderline crazy and possibly willing to invest money in going to see these people play.
So the Iowa Bowl game got announced today. We're going to the Citrus Bowl, which is in Orlando, Florida. Let it be known that if we do end up going to this game, it was only because it's somewhere warm. Like, if it was somewhere cold, I would not be going. But at this time of year, when it's winter,
it's nice to escape a
things
little
are kind
bit.
of cold.
Have a reason to.
You know, I'm considering going somewhere a little bit warm for the weekend. We'd obviously have to work out timing wise with like, I'd have to probably take some time off of work and like I'd have to figure out all of that logistically. It's also like it would require a plane ride, which requires money for a plane ticket. And things are very expensive.
As soon as they announce these bowl games, they look at the cities people are traveling from and to, and they jack the prices up. I mean, also like the availability is like there's more demand, so it makes sense. But
it's like we were looking at stuff from like Des Moines to Orlando was like $500. So we're toying around with flying out of somewhere different. But it's still, it would require some thinking.
Yeah. Speaking of traveling, because here's the other thing with like, I mean, I don't know how much PTO Ciera has, and she doesn't even know how much PTO she has. So this may or may not be an issue for her, but I have limited PTO. And so I'm trying to think through, would I need to take PTO for this, or can I shift my schedule? Keeping in mind that I also keep wanting to have like end of February or sometime in February, like my kind of like legit vacation of, I've been working for like a year now. I deserve a week away from work. Funny enough, because I've been telling myself, okay, eventually a vacation needs to be booked because like
that's the nature of vacations. They must be booked in advance.
We're about to be going into January. So I've been looking different places. I've been looking at flying out of Des Moines, flying out of nearby airports. Generally speaking, I am most intrigued in going to like the Caribbean, because, you know, that's just what I want. And so a while ago, I had been looking at cruises, and then I kind of stopped going that route and like just looked at flights again to see if there was anywhere we'd be interested in going. And then like yesterday, I kind of flipped back to like cruises because like flights are just so outrageously expensive. And I'm like, okay, let's backtrack again. And I found like with Black Friday deals and stuff, I was like, oh my God, I found a pretty good deal for what seems like it'd be like a really good cruise. And the day I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly like the time frame I was hoping for. So I sent some screenshots to Maggie and Ciera because Maggie may or may not be able to go with us. And I was like, what do you guys think? And then Maggie was kind of like, I don't know. I'm not even sure if it'll work out with my work schedule. And Ciera and I were talking about it more today. And we're kind of like, okay, we need to make a decision by the end of the year. And then I was kind of like, well, the Black Friday deal
only lasts so long.
Done before then. So then I was going back on my phone, like re-looking at it. And I don't know how I didn't see this previously when I was looking at it and how I saw it now. But that cruise was for 2025 and not 2024. So that's no longer an option or what I'm looking for. So there is this thing I saw on TikTok where it's like this kind of sketchy looking website, but everyone in the comments said that that's what their family does when they go on cruises. And it's like discounted cruise stuff that's like last minute type stuff. I was going to look at that one more time and give it a shot and see if there was anything reasonable that would work there.
Interesting. I haven't heard of that.
I don't remember what it's called, but I've looked at it before. Yeah.
Anyways, other college football stuff. So they obviously also announced the 4 teams that were going to make it to the college football playoffs. They ended up picking Michigan, Washington, Alabama, and Texas. And Megan and I, along with, every other person who is watching college football, we were like going through saying like who our top 4 teams would be. I think we had landed on Michigan, Washington, Florida State, and Texas, ultimately, leaving out SEC entirely. Obviously, the Georgia, Alabama championship threw things through a loop.
I feel like the thing I've seen the most, too, is, like, do you put in the most deserving teams or do you put in, like, the top 4 teams? And I saw some people posting screenshots of, like, kind of blowout title games where it's, like, the score wasn't really even close as reason for having, like, the best or quote-unquote best teams in. And there's an argument for Florida State right now, especially, like, not being one of the 4 best teams. And they didn't make it. But I just feel like you have to give the underdog a chance. Like, they had no other path to...
I feel like if a team does, like, everything within their power, aka, like,
and,
that's
like, their Power 5
winning,
team, and their schedule was challenging, which Florida State's was.
Then, like, what else are they supposed to do?
Right. And I just feel like you have to give some respect to the little guy. Maybe they do get blown out in their first semifinal matchup.
I mean, ultimately, like, the best team is going to win anyways.
Yeah.
Like, we're not saying, like, that whoever...
Like, the number 1 seed is going to get put in. And obviously, it's anyone's game. But theoretically, the one that ends up winning is probably going to be the best team. So I think Florida State should have made it. And it's a bummer they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, imagine, like, when Iowa went 12-0 and then lost the Big Ten championship, imagine if we would have won and they would just, like, not put us in the college football playoff. I would have been like,
right.
What is going on? What were we supposed to do? So, good thing they're expanding the playoff next year.
Yeah, I think that everyone's looking forward to that because at least it gives obviously more people opportunity, which is a little bit more fun. Like, there might be some upsets and stuff. I feel like it kind of brings a little bit of, like, March Madness energy into football. Not like the top team, I'm sure, will still probably win. I feel like there are fewer upsets in football than I feel like there are in basketball.
I'm now rooting for Washington.
I'm rooting for Washington too.
You just don't want Michigan to win.
Some people say that we should have Michigan win because then it would look better for us.
I get that, but
down with Michigan.
Yeah. So I was like, anything else like football, Citrus Bowl related, or just like travels and stuff in general?
We can finish with
I keep
travels.
thinking, because here's another route we could go for travels. Like, we could do within the U.S., obviously. We could do somewhere warm resort vibe. We could do somewhere warm. We kind of like DIY our own trip and itinerary
like a Phoenix
vibe.
kind of vibe.
We can do. I am still stuck on, like, I think I want to go somewhere warm, but and like I also don't think I want to bring Vegas. But granted, with the respiratory virus and stuff going on, we'd have to like have someone we know watch him or hope it's kind of calmed down. So like the thought crossed my mind of like
him coming along,
road trip with Vegas and doing like a dog friendly type of thing, but I don't even know how far we would tolerate having him in the car, how far he would tolerate being in the car, and things of that nature.
Right.
And I don't know like where would be the destination? Where's like a good dog friendly? And then I was like, I could look up just like dog friendly road trips starting in the U.S. or
starting in the U.S. just anywhere.
Starting in the Midwest. I don't know.
I mean, we could certainly consider that at some point.
I just think it'd be kind of a downgraded trip from what I'm envisioning. No offense to him.
You know what? He doesn't take any offense.
Where do you... Ciera's been very quiet about this whole
trip,
theoretical trip, and I'm just like, what?
I haven't looked at anything. Thoughts? I want it to be somewhere warm. I also want it to be somewhere decently affordable. I feel like in that sense, when it comes to planning trips, like you are the one that does the planning. I'm the one who like keeps you in check of like, oh, that's kind of a little expensive. So preferably somewhere semi-affordable where I can justify it.
What do you like vibe-wise? Or maybe you're just like, depends on the price, which fair enough.
It does depend on the price. I do want, I think, to be able to like relax a little bit more, whether that's a resort or just like a place with a pool or like, you know, I'm not too picky in that sense. I really just want it to be warm, honestly.
Okay.
You know, for our spring break trip to Florida, we were just vibing in the warmth.
I know.
All we did was read on a beach for like 5 days. And I had no complaints.
I'm just like, Florida's so simple. And generally, like, you can make it affordable, but it's also just like, I've done that so many times. You just like want something a little different. At least I like to have something a little different as an option, which is why I keep not letting Florida win out. But we'll see.
Florida might win out.
We'll have to see.
We might go there for the bowl game. We don't know.
Yeah, we certainly don't need to do it twice then. In theory. I'd prefer not to. I honestly, like, because our mom's an Iowa State fan, and...
Where's their bowl game? They're not going to the bowl game.
Memphis.
Oh, wait, yeah, they are.
Liberty Bowl. I think it's in Memphis. I'm honestly kind of jealous that, like, that's not that far of a drive, and you can just, like, drive.
Megan
like,
and I are low-key, not like low-key. We can
we're
drive.
We're kind of in
like,
a road trip era.
This past summer, we drove to Algoma, Wisconsin, which is like 7 hours. And we also drove to Fargo, North Dakota, which is also like about 7 hours. And like we kind of killed it. Like,
and
it was
like
not
then
that bad.
I was a passenger on the way back from Cincinnati, and that was pretty easy.
Yeah, being a passenger is really easy.
So I am kind of like, because I am not driving to Florida. I have done that
If
before.
it's over 10 hours, I'm not doing it.
So, I mean, I don't know exactly how far Memphis is, but it's probably right around, like, I'm guessing if our mom ends up going, they'll drive. But who knows? I'm just like, I'm kind of jealous of you. Because then you just, like, get to make your own little schedule. And you just got to do the driving.
We were also toying, I guess, for, like, bowl game stuff. Our dad had been toying with going to a bowl game. And then Haley and Ashton were also, like, talking about going to a bowl game. I don't know if that is still in the cards for them. I also don't know which bowl game they were planning on going to. Because Ashton's sister she goes to Florida State. She's a freshman now. And so they were kind of toying with going to the Florida State bowl game. I don't know. Whether or not that actually pans out for them. Whether or not this pans out for any of us. Who knows?
I feel like we've kind of covered football. And if you don't care about football, I'm sorry. But it relates
Football
to our
or
travel
books?
plans. Okay, we just...
Sorry.
Huh?
Like football or books, this episode might not be for you.
Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to talk about the Monk movie.
I was thinking like top of the episode. I was like, I almost just wanted to like throw it in there, but we could do it now.
Okay, so if you guys have been watching us for a long time, I think we've probably also mentioned it on the podcast before. Megan and I are huge Monk fans. It is arguably our favorite TV show of all time. Like, we always go back to it. It's our comfort show. We love the characters. And a couple months ago, just like in my Facebook feed, I get, ads for Peacock and whatever. But I saw a thing on Peacock saying December 8th, like Mr. Monk's last case, like the movie comes out. And I was like, hold on. What?
Especially because like when like the cast also like had like a little reunion like during COVID that they like kind of got in character for. And so I was just like, that really like hit a soft spot in my heart because I just love the cast and the characters. And so now that they have a movie coming out.
And I watched the trailer in the car, so I don't know if you like have watched the trailer. And I'm just like excited.
I hope it does the series justice.
I hope so too.
I feel like the psych movies kind of fall in line with this series, and so hopefully it's like similar to that.
I think that watching the trailer, like it seemed good and stuff still. It's just like the filming is different, obviously, because it's not being filmed in like 2008, and so like the cameras are nicer quality. Like you just tell it's filmed differently than
So
like the show was, and so like in that sense it feels a little bit different. But like the actual substance felt pretty consistent with the show.
I also like the last trivia night we went to.
Oh yeah.
There was like a question where it was like, it was not just like one question. It was like 4 different answers, and it was like there's like a title character. Name the title character, which like means like the name of the show.
No, it says like name the show title, which has like a title character in it.
That is what title character is.
Okay.
And it was something related to that, and it was like sitcoms, or I don't know what the specific question was. Like I think it was saying it was just like describing it, and then you had to name this series. And for some reason, I just felt so strongly because like Monk is like a niche enough show. First of all, I was like, Monk is a title character. The series has his name, so it would work in this category. And it's like niche enough where I feel like not a lot of people know about it, but it's also like plenty of people do know about it, especially if you're like a daytime TV watcher. They still play it pretty regularly. And so I just felt it in my bones that it was going to be on there. And then lo and behold, it describes like this former detective, blah blah blah. It's very like OCD with, I mean, it just described Monk, and I was like, I knew it. I knew that was gonna be on there. And then there was like there's like 2 other shows we did not know what they were, who they were, and then we got the last one, which I didn't know.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel,
which both had Tony Shalhoub in it, and the trivia guy also said that. And yeah, I just felt I was like, why is this happening?
Well, because then that was like, there's another question that we felt like especially connected to. You know, like in life, you just feel like connected to things.
Different media.
There was 2 times at trivia night that was like, this question is for me. So there's the song My Girl by The Temptations. That's like a relatively old song. And one of the questions is like, oh, like in My Girl, like what is the month that like he compares the girl to, or like whatever it says. And I don't know how often like you or Haley listen to My Girl, but it's like regularly on my playlist, and so I listen to it all the time. But like we all have like a connection to it, I guess, because like our dad always says like My Girls and like whatever. So we always say like, oh, like that's the song that we use for like daddy daughter dance at like our wedding, which Haley didn't end up doing, but whatever.
Yeah.
But like we all are familiar with the song. And so then like when that question came up, we were like, oh my God, we all know this one. So 2 times during that trivia night that we were like, this trivia night is for us.
And we finished 4th for one of the rounds, and then we finished like 2nd to last for the other round. It's like super high highs and then like very low lows.
But we've got a trivia night coming at us tomorrow. It'll just be Megan and I. So wish us luck.
It'll already be said and
done by the time you guys listen to this.
The next little segment or category we had was like winter uglies or just winter blues.
You know what
we're going into
my
that
winter
season.
ugly? My cuts that I get on the corner of my lips every winter. I had one on the left side of my lip. It is healed now. But then like as that one is healing, I now have one on the right side of my lip. And A, it's painful. And B, I feel like a toddler. Like, you know what I mean? Like they like lick their lips and like their lips get all red and stuff. And like are way bigger than the actual shape of their lips. That's what I feel like. Even though I feel like you can like see it. I try not to like lick it that much because I don't want it to be like Ciera the giant toddler. Like that's what I think about. And I've been trying to like Vaseline it and stuff.
I mean, I get that often enough. Luckily, like not right now, but
so like, that's my winter uglies moment.
I feel like just in general, here's what I didn't get. Like within the past week or 2, I don't think it's like as much anymore. But it's like my skin just like didn't look like great, even though like there weren't really like breakouts happening necessarily. But I was just like looking in the mirror and I'd be like,
something's
off. This isn't not looking quite as good. Part of it too is like my eyelids. I feel like they're not as dry anymore, but like they're still pretty red, aren't they?
They're not as red as they were.
Like, and granted, like I have eczema, like my skin's sensitive. The winter's a hard time. My hands get dry.
The back of my hands are so dry this year.
So, you know, it's
like my knuckles.
Issue.
I get like deep cuts on my knuckles in the winter.
See, I don't get that.
And I don't know why. You should have seen on this knuckle, my right index knuckle, it was like a deep gash from being dry. I could fill it with lotion.
So, well, you lost
your red eye lids.
And so my eyelids have been quite dry. And so part of like this helped a little bit, but like I got like one of the Vaseline sticks that you can kind of like just roll on your
like
face.
A glue stick.
And it's been helpful, but it's also kind of like if it was really that helpful, like they would go away and they'd be not dry anymore. But I feel like consistently I wake up every morning and my eyelids are dry. And then depending on how dry, I can put lotion on in the morning and they'll be like pretty good all day. But then the next morning I wake up and then they're still dry again and I put lotion on before bed.
What's your water intake look like?
I could probably be better. But like I have a water bottle I need to finish actually. So that's for some reason like when I get dry on my face, like it's my eyes and then like they were really quite red for a little bit. Yeah. Winter uglies, man.
My nails. Megan and I are both in a
Not a good
state of nail biting.
It's been a prolonged state for me, and I keep trying to tell myself to
Instead of like the State of the Union, the state of my nails, we need to like have that as a segment on our podcast to hold ourselves accountable.
I wish so badly, because like there was, I don't remember when my peak was,
but there was a moment.
But there was a time for like months, actually, that my nails were like maintaining where they were.
And I was like, I'm cured. And I think the sad thing, which like I always want to be like, oh, like I want to get to a point where I'm just like never gonna bite my nails again.
It's always going to be a cycle.
Yeah,
I think it just is.
And the sooner that we can accept that, then the better equipped we are. It's like the thing where people like will like work out and then they fall off and they're like, I'm just not gonna work out. We need to treat it like that, where it's like knowing that it's gonna be a cycle, so we can just say like, okay, we fell off, but we can hop back on and like try again. And people have tried.
Don't know what because the time we did it, like you have to get past a certain point, and I haven't gotten past that certain point again, where like my nails aren't like ugly enough where I don't feel like the need to like fix them by biting them into like a different shape, because it's like it's when they have like the little snarls or like snaggly bits where you're like, that shouldn't be there. Let me fix it
and just munch on it for a second. You know what I think is annoying though, and kind of rude?
Like when I'm driving between buildings, I feel like I like don't even pay attention, and so like that's been like a not good situation for me.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed though? I feel like a lot of people will like be like, oh, do you bite your nails? And I'm like,
some people need to like
settle down a little bit. You feel a little bit too comfortable.
Don't ask that question. Do you see my... First of all, you can see my nails.
Why are you asking a question you know the answer to?
Because there's... Yeah. I've literally had, like, patients...
No, I have
had
that
too. Before. And I'm just like,
oh,
yes.
yeah, I need to stop.
And that's why I was like, oh, don't do that. And I'm like, thanks. I figured. I know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's just, like, questions that, like... we did a whole episode on things that should be common knowledge, but apparently aren't.
Well,
asking like questions that like are
you're
going to make someone else uncomfortable.
You're asking me that, and then it makes me look bad to like have to like no one's proud of like biting their nails, you know? Yeah. And, like not that it's like an embarrassing thing.
Are you expecting me to say no? Because then what?
But like you're drawing attention to something that I probably would rather not have attention drawn to. Like my nails are like ugly little stubs, you know?
And we weren't talking about anyone's nails, so why are we asking? Why are we talking about this?
Right.
Next time I wouldn't do this, because like especially not to a patient, okay, but like it gives off the energy of like if someone like just normal like who you were like acquaintances with were to ask that, like, okay, now you're inviting me to pick out like your worst feature and ask what are you doing about that.
Oh, do you pick at your acne? Like
same energy.
That's just something I noticed. I don't know.
If not, then sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, my nails just don't grow. I cut them that short on purpose.
I have like this special clippers that I use that like are jagged and like they need to be sharpened. So thanks for that. Other winter ugly stuff. I feel like my hair, I'm like on the come up with my hair again in terms of like styling
my hair
it.
Can't be in the winter uglies. Honestly, I think my hair does better, or I feel better about my hair, which helps with my looks overall, because like I feel like I care a lot about my hair just with my general appearance. But like in the winter, I think is when it's harder to like constantly style my hair, because it's always like it's hot out.
You mean in the summer?
Yeah, what did I say?
The winter?
Oh, in the summer is when it's hard for me to like consistently style my hair.
Well, because you're always the person that's like, you want to do something. I'm like, Megan, you're going to throw it up. It's too hot. Because you're like, what if I like do this to my hair and like can keep it down? And I feel like between the two of us,
I'm not talking about like for pictures and stuff. I'm talking about like I don't style my hair because like in the summer it's either going up or we're like doing things that are going to get it wet.
I feel like,
and then you have to like shower more often.
Yes, and I do agree with that, but I also feel like there are times when like it's during summer and like the first thing I'm doing is putting my hair up.
I just don't think it's related to what I'm saying.
Okay, whatever. This is like one of those moments in our podcast that people are gonna be like, the girls are fighting.
No, you know what else has happened a lot this weekend, the past couple days?
What?
Ciera and I have just been the same person this whole weekend. This is like an ongoing joke. This happened again today too. This is an ongoing
joke. I didn't hear you
say
that though.
Okay, well, who was I talking to then?
I don't know.
Ciera and I have something else I was gonna say, but we'll get to it. we notice the same things. We're together often. If there's like a little tidbit of information that like I know that I want Ciera to know, like if she didn't hear me maybe already say that, like she'll probably see that same information and then like repeat it back to me, knowing that I want to know it. But the issue is like we both know. So for examples, because like maybe that did make sense. I'll start with like grocery shopping yesterday because this happened like multiple times.
It happened within like 3 times within 5 minutes.
And I don't even know if I remember all of them. So if you have the other ones, you can
One of them
jump
was
in.
like there's like a Salvation Army like person ringing the bell,
Yeah.
and they're standing outside the
So
store.
we walk in. This person's ringing the bell outside the door, and it's cold. And so I made a comment that Ciera apparently didn't hear. But I make a comment of like, they could just like stand in like inside or like in the little corridor thing between the doors. It'd be much warmer. Then as we're leaving, Ciera decides to say that. And I was like, I already said that. And so, and then also our grocery store like got it like rearranged a little bit. And so some things are in different places. And now there's like a designated sports clothing section. And when I went grocery shopping by myself like a week or two ago, I came home and I like told Ciera, I was like, oh, like I kind of redid a few things. Like now there's like a designated sports section. Inevitably, Ciera did not recall that I said that. And so then we were there yesterday. She was like, oh, like, do you see they made a little sports section? And I was like, yeah, I told it to you like a couple weeks ago. And then there was another one, but I don't entirely remember. And then when we were joking about this on the way to the car, because we were tired of talking to each other, we were kind of like, this is like that thing where it's usually for couples, but it's like, look at the birds with me.
And we're both trying.
We're both trying to like enhance our relationship by telling the other person to look at the birds with us for like whatever this thing may be.
And the other person's like, we already have.
We already looked at the birds.
Yeah. I don't remember what the last one was. There definitely was 3 yesterday. We tried.
And then there's one today too. I don't know if it was like when you're leaving the gym or it's so funny.
What?
This is not related to this, but like we had the same thoughts, so it is kind of related. Yesterday we went to Blaze for lunch, and we ate there. We're getting ready to leave.
One may say that we saw an age-appropriate, attractive male.
Yes.
Was that our key phrase that we
that was
had
the key
coined?
phrase. Ciera already like, because we were sitting, Ciera like went to like throw her stuff away. I'm gathering my things, so I'm turning to like walk in said direction, and I'm kind of like, I stopped for a second to like take him in, and then I very quickly am like back down, not looking, and he was also wearing an Iowa sweatshirt, so I felt even more connected because I was like, that's a good team to root for. Hope we do well today. And then I'm walking by, throwing my stuff away, obviously making no interaction with said man. And then Ciera's already, like I said, she already went and did this and like was back by our table now, waiting for me to join her to leave. And then when I was walking up to her, I kind of noticed like a smirk on her face, but like I didn't say anything, she didn't say anything, and we just like continued on. And then I was pretty convinced. I was like, I think
She had to have seen him.
I think which like, why were we smirking? I don't know. But you don't see guys that you think are cute in person very often, okay? And so then like a couple minutes later when you were leaving, I had to just revisit the situation and be like, did you see that? Mm-hmm. Did you see the guy that was in there?
I honestly, because I had seen him, but I was like, I didn't know if it was like worth even like being like, oh, like there's a cute guy over there. Like, right.
Like it's said and gone, we left already. So.
And I was like, I don't know, maybe I didn't get a good look at him. Maybe he like wasn't even like cute. I don't know. So I was like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't even think about it. And then you brought that up. I didn't know that I was smirking, so I guess.
I feel like you were like,
like
when I was coming over, like, were you thinking I thought anything of said guy?
I was wondering like if you would have noticed him.
Because then I feel like you were smirking because you were maybe expecting me to like come up like then to kind of be like, did you see that guy
I wasn't
back
expecting you to say anything.
So whatever. It is.
Like I think I was wondering like, I was like, I knew you were going to walk up and pass him. So I was like, I wonder if she will say anything or like notice him. But then I wasn't going to say anything.
So if you were a guy or you know someone that was at Blaze
in West Des Moines on December the 2nd. Is today the 3rd? Yes.
Then
let it go now. I just had someone, this is kind of unrelated, but I had someone DM me on Instagram saying they're like, I accidentally X'd you on Hinge or whatever. And I'm like, that's a poor excuse because Hinge has an undo button. So what's up with that?
Did you know? Like, I know that phones do this because, like, it's usually, I feel like people, why is this a built-in feature in phones? For you to shake it and that, like, undoes whatever you were not meaning to do. But do you, like, you know the thing pops up on your phone where it's like, oh, I can't undo this because there's nothing to undo.
I mean, I rarely do that.
Okay, well, it pops up on my phone often enough. And then I think that, like, I found out it works on Hinge apparently, too. Like, instead of going up to hit the undo button.
You shake your phone?
If you shake it.
Undo that!
So I think I was, like, looking at Hinge on my phone. And then, like, I dropped my phone and, like, set it off to the side. And, like, it went back to, like, the person that I had, like, already X'd before. And I was like, what? What just happened? Anyway, I found that out. And as you can tell, or not, we did have to do a jump cut because Vegas was starting to whine. And also the firemen and Santa were like just parading around our neighborhood. So I think it's our sign that we need to
wrap things up.
So
if you guys enjoyed this episode, please give a thumbs up if you're watching the YouTube video. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you're listening on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, please subscribe to that as well. It definitely helps us out.
And we will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.